growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur, still is an entrepreneur. He runs his own business. Seeing him work, debating over problems and solutions at the dining table, that gave me a look into that possibility of a career in the future. So more nurture.
With the introduction of AI, with AI being so much more common right now, it's helping people to do work a lot more productively, and it's actually making people more inclined to entrepreneurship because there is AI there to help them.
I think Gen Z generation is looking for purpose and meaning. Sometimes when you're entering things like the corporate sector, it may be a rat race. You're climbing to the top of the ladder. And that's why the topic entrepreneurship is very useful, because it's about you carving your own path moving forward.
Welcome to the Financial Coconuts, the business show budget debate special.
Woo!
Today we are not in our studio.
Yes.
We are somewhere very cozy, homely, somewhere where I will want to buy my furniture for my new home.
Really? Have you bought any?
This year I think I will move already this year.
Okay, you can scan the QR code here and get 20% off. Yeah. Welcome to Commune Lifestyle. Yes, we're at Millennium Walk. If somehow you're around, please come and say hi.
Yeah.
We can see us. You can't
people can see us. It feels like those,
like live show.
Yeah, live show.
Like
the Good Morning America kind of live show.
Exactly. Yeah,
we have elevated to this level already.
Good morning, Singapore. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, I'm waving to somebody who didn't wave in just to pretend only.
Okay. But yes.
Today we're going to debate the budget.
Yes. But we have a topic.
We have a topic.
Because we already did the Tauke Reacts for the budget. You can check out last week's episode.
Yes. So today is more of we identified a interesting space whereby we hope that the budget 2027 or maybe downstream new policies that will come down in 2026 will fill this little space, and that is youth entrepreneurship, right? Because during budget,
because youth all unemployed need to do entrepreneurship.
Cannot say like that. Do you even have the number of?
Okay. I don't have. I just anyhow say.
We have our LinkedIn economies here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But entrepreneurship is a big thing, and I think it's a good juncture for youth to explore, because last time, the good old days where everybody is very quickly employed, and all the university, all these big banner, 100% employed, 100% employed. Yeah. Those all the banner all disappear already.
Yeah, now 80+%.
Yeah. So the good old days, entrepreneurship becomes only a small handful of people will do it.
Yes.
But I think these days, as a reaction to the landscape and the situation, right, entrepreneurship becomes this interesting alternative path that we could potentially further invest in and grow, and we could get a whole new generation of brands and entrepreneurs that come out of it. Right? I think it's the fun thing that the nation can explore.
Which is also very interesting, because when we look at the budget, there weren't any.
Got some.
There were overall initiatives, to stimulate entrepreneurship, right? Such as your 40% corporate income tax rebate, your market readiness assistance grant upgrade from 50% to 70%. All these, yes, right? It applies to all businesses, but specific to youth entrepreneurship, it wasn't announced during the budget announcement. It was announced one day before. It is a government partnership with East Ventures, whereby the target audience are your 14 to 18-year-olds, and there's this partnership gives you, I think, $300 capital.
Huh?
Yeah, $300. Wait. Let me explain first.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Cannot judge.
14 to 18 years old. So it looks it feels like an experimental kind of initiative.
Okay.
$300 capital, and they put you through an 8-week acceleration program. Hopefully you get some revenue out of the capital, and then for every dollar of revenue you make, the government will match 1-for-1 up to $1,000 for 8 weeks. So after 8 weeks, then lesson finish already, then you go back to school and then hopefully after that you become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I know what's going on in your head. So this is the new development pre-budget, also during this budget season, for which I think it is one of the more prominent effort by the government to try to stimulate entrepreneurship as young as possible.
Yep.
Actually, in the past, I think back in 2010s, right, there's this initiative called Yes Startup. Specifically among 50 plus schools, right, there's this entrepreneurship kit for classrooms, and then they teach students how to be entrepreneurs. Yeah, that was in 2010s, early 2010s. Now it seems like they have moved to the VC route, even for secondary school students already. But there's a gap that I think there is, right? Because the number one question I have in my mind is that you have all these grants and schemes that is targeting moving towards growth stage startups already. And you also have a lot of money pumped into helping local companies list. But then what about the top of the funnel? Are we doing enough to stimulate entrepreneurship? Number one, can entrepreneurship be taught? Is it an educatable kind of a trait? Number two, can it be stimulated? And how much is required to stimulate entrepreneurship amongst the young? So that's why today we have our guests, right? Today we have Pei Yun, our LinkedIn APAC economist. Say hi.
Hi.
Very far, I cannot see your
Sorry,
face.
where
I
do
need to
I-
like tilt back.
That's your camera, the big one. The big
Hi.
one. Yes, yes. So what do you do actually as a LinkedIn economist?
Also, I have a really exciting job. My job is to look at all the data on LinkedIn. We have 1.3 billion members globally across 68 million companies. And my job is to analyze all of that data to understand the trends that are going on in the labor market and what we think the future of work will look like.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
We have Eugene.
Hi, my name is Eugene. I'm co-founder of Ecovolt Technologies. We are an AI native building orchestration system. Basically, we integrate all your systems within your facilities, right? And we orchestrate it with the data points that we have and the controls that we aggregate.
The output is what? Save energy, save electricity bills,
Right,
is it?
three things: operational efficiency, sustainability, compliance, as well as saving utility bills.
Yeah, just to give a bit of context of what he does, right? The other day, I think 2 weeks ago, he was at a GB standard process with one of the ministries. He's the only Gen Z there.
That's
The rest
cool,
of them all legacy business owners one. So his his own solution is competing against these. Yeah,
That's when you know you're cracking the market. You're
Yes.
challenging it.
Yeah.
That's cool. We'll talk about it in a while. Yes.
Sim.
Yes, hi, I'm Sim. I'm representing youth today, 29 years old, and looking forward to speaking a little bit about my perspectives. I also do sustainability during my day jobs.
Yeah, so each of them serves different roles here, right? Pei Ying has a macro perspective on what is troubling our youth today and what are the exit pathways based on LinkedIn data. Yeah, not don't play. Eugene is walking the talk. He is exactly walking the pathway as a young entrepreneur, fresh grad, right? You just
Yes.
graduated this year?
Yes. No,
last
last
year,
year, 2025.
But you started your startup already when you were a student.
Working on it, right? We incorporated July.
So fresh grad, first job, straight out of school, already a startup founder. And then Sim, because we have a lot of youth panels here and there, and Sim is a very active participant and leader, talking to youth from different walks of life, right, about their concerns about jobs, entrepreneurship and everything. So she represents the youth community, right?
I'm the capo. Yeah. And extra here. Yeah.
You are sitting in the C way.
Okay, yes.
You're sitting in the center.
Just trying to share my thoughts and how to encourage youth. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to first let's just look at the macro perspective, right? Because the whole reason why we are so interested in youth entrepreneurship, I am interested in youth entrepreneurship, is because there's this talk in the town whereby, fresh grad employment is down and so entrepreneurship is the way out. But actually, based on LinkedIn data, is it like that? How does employment look like?
Based on our data, I think the reality is that we're in a job market right now that's slower than what it was. So we are in a slower hiring phase than we were pre-pandemic even. And
Oh, really?
Yes, that's right. That's
Okay,
right. And what that effectively means is that the whole market is down. It's not just youth or middle age or older workers. The entire market is down. And part of that is because business cycles just go up and down. That's the reality of the world. And we happen to be one of those cycles right now.
Okay. So things are not that great, essentially.
Well,
Yeah.
I think economically
Is there some
speaking,
data on how long does it take for people to get a job at this point in time? Just so we get some color there.
No, I think we don't, because it always depends, right? Some people apply very actively. Some people apply for fun and
They
then they
spam
stop.
lah, those
Yeah,
kind.
or they just apply to test the waters and then they don't they
Or
don't
they use
follow
the
up. Or they're not
LinkedIn
so
easy apply
actively-
function, right?
Oh, it's very easy to apply. That's right.
Yeah. Don't have easy apply. I also don't want to apply. Really, it's true. There was a period of time, but now I don't care. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I think what's important is that we still see activity, we still see people applying, and we still see this eagerness to change jobs, to find new opportunities, and to change to different industries, to pivot around. So I think it's this mindset of changing, mindset of pivoting that I find very encouraging.
Okay. But then that also means that the LinkedIn data does suggest that the youth are not as quickly employed, and not just youth, right, across the board, right? And then potentially this whole entrepreneurship thing is a thing, That's so it kind of answers the first point, the reality of the game.
No, we need to validate, because I think officially we need to hear sentiments from the ground, right? So I'll look at Sim, after so many conversations with our youths, right?
Yeah. Is it true?
Is it true? Are they getting employed easily? Or?
I think if you speak about from a Singapore statistic, right, when they're tracking really how long unemployment would be considered, it's about 25 weeks, right? So I guess data would be based off that. But I think youth's perspectives, I think it's very difficult right after graduation to get jobs today. I think the sentiment is that university may not be preparing individuals for jobs. A lot of people may not even feel that once they enter the job, this is something that they want to pursue for the long term. I think Gen Z generation is looking for purpose and meaning, to be quite frank, right? And I think sometimes when you're entering things like the corporate sector, it may be a rat race, if I may be quite frank, right? You're climbing to the top of the ladder. But I think today, and that's why the topic entrepreneurship is very useful, because it's about you carving your own path moving forward. But yeah, definitely, I think youth are struggling today, if I could be quite blatantly honest.
Yes, you can. This is DFC.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
But are they actually actively thinking of entrepreneurship? Because it is some people.
because it's not as rosy,
Yeah,
You're throwing yourself into the meat grinder, I tell
Yes,
you.
we have two entrepreneurs
We'll get
here.
there. We'll get there
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Yes. I see the Eugene smile. I know.
Because it's one thing to say I want to come out and do my own things. So like I'm a marketer. I tell you there are a million times where I say I want to quit this job. I want to set up my own marketing agency, until I go and talk to my agency friends, and then I realize I cannot do it. I cannot do it, right? But so it's easy to say I want to be an entrepreneur, and then I'm sure there are people who say they want to be an entrepreneur, but then when they go back home, they still click easy apply until like 1 million times until.
This is not sponsored.
Yeah, it's not, but
yeah,
the reality is like
we're
that.
suggesting you can sponsor. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
I think it's a trade-off, right? Because obviously you lose your paycheck monthly if you're going to be an entrepreneur. You have to do everything. You're not like targeted in a specific thing. I could be a delivery person the next day. I could be doing social media the next day, right? I mean, let's be realistic. You have to be like a person with all the skills in the world. But I think youth today are open to entrepreneurship a lot more. But what they do need support is mentorship, and at a young age, really to also be able to have that network, to have like facility investments, backing, so that even if they do fail, there is something that they can continue or pursue, or that, they can easily transition to a job eventually. So I think there are two buckets of youth today, one that wants a safety net, to be quite frank, and one that's willing to take a risk.
Okay, I just want to say to all the youths out there, it's not your generation problem. Past two generations also have the same concern.
Yes.
It's all the same, right?
all the
Yeah,
same.
but I think it is the interesting part is that it does sound like more people are looking at this entrepreneurship thing. So it's cool. Yeah. What is your take? You survived
The
the meat
fresh grad.
grinder. Yes.
Yeah,
Now entrepreneur.
I think my perspective is very biased because my peers, they all get jobs, right? I'm from NUS.
What do you all study, if you don't
I
mind?
studied computer science.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay.
I think that also adds to the data point. Like computer science graduates do get decent jobs, lah.
Yeah. You're no longer a corridor.
Yeah. But
Do you know
it
back
is
then com science was a corridor?
corridor? Just one corridor.
Com science was one
Oh, that's
corridor
crazy.
next to the business school.
Now we have three.
Yeah.
Four buildings.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Back then when
Yeah.
I was in school, it was a straight C corridor program.
I see. Okay.
But yes,
Okay.
things have changed. Things have changed. Yes.
Yeah. But I do feel the sentiment that when you do get jobs, your job functions are super packed, right? You have to do a lot of things. The job interviewing process as well is a bit more pressurizing because the stakes are super high. Everyone is complaining that they don't get jobs, right? So when you are in that position, then you feel more pressure lah.
But then your personal story, like how do you
Yeah.
Personal story.
how do you come to this? That whole like entrepreneurship thing.
Well, I think it's not so much at the point of graduation. It goes way further before that. There are a few points. I think growing up, my dad, was an entrepreneur, still is an entrepreneur. He runs his own business. Seeing him work, debating over problems and solutions at the dining table, breakfast table, that gave me a look into that possibility of a career in the future. That's one. So more nurture, right? And I see the same trend with my co-founders. And it was also that very good opportunity to meet my co-founders and having the same drive, having similar experiences, although very different skill sets, that, hey, this is such a good opportunity. To me, the main hurdle when you want to start something is finding good people. And my co-founders are those good people. Why should I give it up? And of course, then the problem that we're solving super exciting, huge market, very, very meaningful and purposeful. We touch the lives of the people on the ground. Why should I give these up for a job?
No choice. You must drink a bit of that Kool-Aid to survive the grind. Right?
Let's go.
I know you must. There's a bit of that, right? But respect. Respect. Okay, as a fellow entrepreneur, I know the amount of problems that go into it.
So this is why there's a big question mark in my head, right? The national narrative perspective and media narrative perspective, it seems like entrepreneurship is a way out.
It's a new hot thing, right? Yeah.
Like day in, day out, we see a lot of people writing about it, and on social media, people writing about it. Okay, I'm just gonna read something here from Reddit, right? Because I follow Reddit, and you say I stalk people, right? So I also stalk Reddit. Right? I have a lot of people who are youth entrepreneurs on r/Singapore, right? And then they just talk about how their entrepreneurship journey, right? Like this guy took 6 years before turning a profit. And before that, basic salary was 3K, and only started paying his 3K on the 5th year.
Oh, okay. On the 5th year. Okay.
On the 5th year. So 1 to 4, the first 4 years got literally zero, and he purposely go and cut off his social accounts just to make himself feel better, because otherwise he'll be seeing his friends with proper jobs and then living a better life, right? So there are people like that. There are people on social going on about their entrepreneurship journey. Seem you are not in contact with them, but I really don't think it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's just that by your testimonial, there is this gap here. We are hearing things about entrepreneurship. You are not in contact with them, but there's this gap here whereby then what's going to happen? What is exactly happening on the ground, right? And so this is where I want to turn to both. Wait first. I want to turn to Eugene, right? In my conversations with you some time ago, you did want to find a job first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then you switched to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
What made you switch?
Yep. So actually, I was already working, right? So I went for the NUS Overseas Colleges program to Paris. Over there, I interned at edutech startup, and I thought amazing business, right? I love it, passionate about it. Okay, I tried to set the business up in Singapore. So that was like my full-time job outside of studying. Okay, so like a lot of BD work, just hustling out there. So in a way, I was really employed. And then there was a transition, feeling that pressure and peer pressure. My friends are all also finding jobs. Hey, maybe I should go out there, try, and, maybe feel a bit better about myself. If, I get a job offer, guys, I can right? And then it came a point where, okay, I have this company, meaning the one I was working for, finding a job, and as well as meeting my other two co-founders. It was during that transition period where I was like, okay, let's just try and see. Honestly, right, at that point of time, very human to go in very logically, like which one would have the best ROI. Applied for like 3 jobs, didn't get a response within the next 2 weeks. And then in that period, okay, I decided the company I was working for, never mind, put that aside. These 2 guys are super hungry and they want to do this. Let's go. So after that period on, okay, we burned the boats. We had a meeting, came down together and say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we need to do. Burn the boat. Stop thinking about it. Right? Whatever jobs out there, this is important. Let's move forward.
Do you think entrepreneurship can be taught?
Entrepreneurship. So it's very broad, right? It's not a particular skill.
I'm referring to the pre-budget announcement about this my first $1,000 initiative, right? Obviously, the government is trying to experiment now, trying to teach entrepreneurship already using actual VC money. If it will happen to you when you were 14 to 18, would it have made a difference to you or not?
I feel like the best entrepreneurs are sculpted out of scarcity. My co-founder, Raphael, he started his e-commerce businesses when he was younger, before puberty hit. I'm sure he didn't have account money. His mom probably bankrolled him, right? Turn the profit, return the money. Something like that, whereby you're scrappy enough to go and find an opportunity, convince others, and then turn a profit through the opportunities that you found, right? Instead of there being, okay, guys, I have money to give you. Come and do something. It's very, very different psyche and motivation. But specifically towards that program you mentioned, right? I think outside of capital, if you want to teach entrepreneurship, you should focus on program, not so much of capital.
Really? You think program? I think programs are a waste of time,
I don't think so, right? is the focus of the program.
Because there are a lot of programs. This is not this is just the latest one. Many programs. I don't want to
Absolutely.
name names, all useless.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know?
right. So many. Because I think these programs, what I mean by program is not setting up a program, is what you focus on in the program. Talking about something that is very, very outside of the scope of all the I&E programs that we have anywhere. Okay, sales and go to market. Don't have. People are not taught or shown the way, guided to sell things. A lot of our programs are focused on innovation. What problems are you solving? Why is yours better? What competitors are already out there? You know, but they don't teach, hey, you have something, you have an idea, go and sell it first. If those programs, if the new program is focused on that, very successful.
Is that the new program?
To teach you how to sell your product. Yeah, they have so the 8 weeks is you can literally go and sign up and be a mentor. They are
It's
calling for
okay.
mentors now.
It's fine. The real busy people no time to mentor. 公斤 I don't want to say much.
No,
but yes.
so they're calling for mentors, and you can be a mentor from all walks of life, right? And then they of course they have all internal criteria. They will therefore put the kids together with you in a room one full day, and then you go and do your sales coaching, marketing coaching, product formation. Even though, so my own question mark is that you give these kids 8 weeks, right? How can you earn revenue in 8 weeks? And you can drop ship, you can whatever, but if you're talking really about, so it really depends on the stance of this experiment, right? Are you trying to teach kids that, one, I give you capital, you try to make money, but you must return the capital, yeah? And you just have a feeling of how it feels like to be a business person. That is the goal. But if you say within 8 weeks come with an innovative product market fit, etc., etc., I don't know how it will work. So just now when you say programs doesn't work, right? Can you expound a little bit? I'm questioning you now because I never heard this from you before.
There are many structured programs before this where
What do you mean? Which one?
I don't want to name names. Okay,
Okay.
there are many, and I'm not talking about the fake gurus online. There are those that are funded by MOE. There are those that are funded by different pockets here and there. NYC also have their own stuff. It's over the years, right? Different providers have tried it, and most of the programs are very innovational. Very SOP driven. Very step by step. It's not you're not testing against the market. It's not a real time test against the market. So to me, that doesn't work. It doesn't derive anything. It doesn't train the muscle of the individual. Whatever you can read on books, you read on books. Right. So I think that's the part of why I think a lot of programs are a waste of time.
Okay, so we are done with this debate already.
No.
You know why or not? Because program doesn't work, then it feels like entrepreneurship is a trait that you need to have. Doesn't seem like it can be nurtured from 0 to 100, right? It needs to be something that is innate. And then it feels like there's certain conditions need to be met.
I turn the table on you, right? So when I say program doesn't work, doesn't mean it cannot be trained. Okay, what are entrepreneurs trying to do? You're trying to take a whole bunch of dissociated information to pull together to then understand that product thing and then push it to the market, right? That's broadly what every entrepreneur is trying to do, right? So that is the part of the muscle that most people in the market don't. In fact, even in corporate, right, most of the sales guys have some idea on that front, right? But everyone else that's very far from the transaction, right, have no clue how to do the business, right? So that is the same thing, right? When you come to entrepreneurship, I truly think it's not about another program. You need to kind of turn the table around. Whether is it a market testing kind of exercise, whether is it like an open source incubator of some sort, really make people do the job, test it out, go out there. That is the better way to kind of play around. But it's hard to measure. How to take public funding, full stop.
I have had an experience that I thought would form a very good template for these programs. So before going on the NOC program, they had brought in some startups who wanted to explore other verticals, applying their solution to other verticals. So then they got a bunch of us and said, hey, we want to explore these verticals, go do market research, right? Come back with the data. Within that 3 days, we formulated, okay, this is the list of companies that we should go knock on the doors of. And then the second and third day, we just go. Our Tampines Hub, Orchard Road, we are doing tuition centers then, enrichment centers. So just knock on the door, thick skin, just go and ask, hey, is this something you want? I'm representing this company, I'm representing this program. Is this something you want? Then take feedback. then, hey, if you're interested or it seems like you're interested, let me contact you with the founders. That program to me was amazing because I got to see my team members doing the work, going down, being hungry. But the fact is, not everyone behaved like how we did, right? That program was there, but the intention of each individual was not. So I think when it comes to I&E programs, also, yes, structure good, but it's very hard to find people who are hungry. I don't think that part of entrepreneurship, that hunger can be taught.
I'm just very curious, right? Does LinkedIn have data on how many youth entrepreneurs we have in Singapore, around the region, around the world? Based on, I don't know how you can, what signals you use, but because there are trackings of, for example, in the States, right, total entrepreneurship activity in the States, youth take up 25%. In Korea, it's 13%. In Japan, it's 12% plus. But Singapore, we never tracked before. And I don't know whether it's 10% or 5% or whatever. So is there a way does LinkedIn track, have signals to see whether entrepreneurship is a up and coming activity in Singapore or not?
So we don't track the exact number of entrepreneurs, because that's going to change all the time anyway. What we look at are signals of whether entrepreneurship itself is of rising interest in the country. And I think we've seen some very encouraging things because, for example, with the introduction of AI, with AI being so much more common right now, it's helping people to do work a lot more productively, and it's actually making people more inclined to entrepreneurship. So our data shows that 70% of people are actually more open now to becoming entrepreneurs because there is AI there to help them. Because it's I think I listened to Eugene's story. I feel like, well, oh my God, being an entrepreneur there's so much to think about. There's so much to consider.
That Eugene's story is not unique,
I know, exactly.
The whole street is like that.
Correct, exactly. No, so that's exactly my point. I think it's a very daunting kind of journey to take on. I think with tools that help along the way, like AI, I think they make the journey a little bit less daunting, and perhaps that helps to encourage people to take on this path.
That's intriguing. So because certain aspects of it is simplified because of AI tool, and you are seeing signals that gives rise to this idea that more people are exploring entrepreneurship, and probably you cannot say a causality, but you can fathom a guess also because the traditional employment path has some issues, right? So with this, makes it easier. More people think of this. That could be a way to frame it. Okay.
So when I saw the budget, right, the later budget 2026, and there was definitely a lot of focus on AI and a lot of focus on how do we teach people to use these AI tools better. And for me, I think that is actually very important because that's not only going to help people who are salaried employees, that's also going to help people who are thinking of going out to do things on their own. Because when you learn these kind of skills, they apply across whatever you're trying to do. So I think that aspect of budget is really going to help to increase entrepreneurship in Singapore.
Yeah, so if you're talking about youth entrepreneurs, they would highly likely 99.9% have no access to this 1 billion. No, I mean, this 1 billion is for companies who are early stage, already started, growing, thinking of expansion. Youth entrepreneurs, come on lah. This has nothing to do, this 1 billion, these youths have no access.
I think there's a lot of focus on scaling, but there's a little bit less on mentoring and maybe growing. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely. Although I don't believe in the mentoring, right? I think I think mentoring is a waste of time. Okay, so like the people that are truly good, they have no bandwidth to mentor. The problem is the landscape is not fertile enough for innovation. That is my read of the situation. Right? So not that mentoring is okay. If you think it's a marginal upside, right? Maybe there's an alpha 2%, right? But the baseline 25% is not even sorted, right? You can forget about the alpha. So when I look at this thing, if we really want to promote entrepreneurship, if we think that is the way to go, we need to sort out the cost inputs, right? We need to manage these rents. We need to manage like where do we place like I was the past 2 podcasts I keep saying you need to close down One North, right? close down one north, shift it to Shenton Way, right? Because you need to be cool and trendy and sexy, right? Then everybody will look at it and not be tucked in a corner that it used to be an industrial building, right? So
Too late lah. The AI center is going to be there already.
anyway, right? So to me, I think if you really want to make, if let's say if youth entrepreneurship is what you want to do, front and center as a nation's, prerogative, right? And this is what we want, then it needs to be more prominent in a cooler part of the neighborhood. And then, you must sacrifice rent income. You
But
must.
Scape has what? Scape has a...
Scape has failed. Yeah. Scape has failed. Scape has become a mall. It has failed. Yeah.
Didn't they just revamp themselves last year?
They become a mall. That's a problem. I have a very big problem with the whole level, because last time skate used to be a place where you can throw all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
You can try all sorts of things.
Yes.
But now the whole level 1, level 2, right, is a mall. And I have a very big problem with that, because you are rent seeking once again. Right, so you are because rent very easy to account one, very quick one, right? You use rent already, then you will record that in your KPI. You hit the numbers, right? But it's very hard to account for success rate of the entrepreneur, right? Last time, maybe 10 plus 20
You're
years.
not that old, don't need last time. Now also can.
The skate used to be a place where you can throw in interesting pop-ups, you have interesting events, you have interesting competition, you have all these things. And when I saw skate renovating, I was like, wow, cool, Chia, it's gonna be a bigger space, gonna be able to do more stuff. And go in and see a mall. Wow, I'm so annoyed by it, like we need to stop this. Like, if we truly believe in entrepreneurship, we truly believe in developing the next tranche of brands and, taking the nation to the next level. You want a Jensen Huang, you want all these people, right? Then you must make it very cheap to fail, right? You must make it very easy to try, very easy to do. And it needs to be in prime land. Right, so to me that is my main message. If you talk about youth entrepreneurship,
yeah, there are many different layers here.
Yeah.
It seems like the word entrepreneurship, there is SME, there is solopreneur, there is startupish, therefore innovation. Now it's all meshed into one thing.
No,
right?
I think you can in entrepreneurship. There's usually 2 or 3 lines to segment the people. Okay, one line is about the size of the business, right? So you are maybe you're barely 100, 200,000, you're just kind of figuring out, right? You're barely a business. Maybe sub-million, you enter the business banking ecosystem. The banker will call you. Banker call you means, you're somebody, right? So that's a game, right? So you cut. Then you go into the 5 million, right? Then 5 million above, then you go into the corporate banking, right? So you can cut the lines based on the size of the business, and you can cut the lines based on industry. Okay, then there is probably one dotted line that's a bit more interesting, which is the startups, right? Or the tech startups, because the model to run a tech startup is very different, right? It's a lot of capex investment. You got to outrun your competition, and then you hope for the curve at the back, right? As compared to the other type of business, whether it's services, building a new brand, selling a product, the kind of business life cycle is more different. So we are spending all the effort, or at least all the buzz, is on the cool startup, hoping to get the next big unicorn, to then lift everyone up, right? Whereas this whole other bit where all the SMEs are at, right, is pretty much left to what it is, right? And there's no youth component on that front, And I said it on the other podcast, and I'll say on this podcast again. We need to take back all the Bencoolen, the whole area, the NAFA, that whole area, right? We have a few HDB. Why you need dance studio there? Why need tuition center? Right? Take back the whole place, make it an incubator. All your brands, all your IP, all your art students, right? All your iPods, they're all there. Make them churn. 18 months, you come in, I expect you to grow. Right? Then you grow the brand, you do your live stream, you sell direct, you innovate, you showcase. You cannot out-churn next thing. Hong Kong does it, Taiwan does it, and it works. Right? So those are the type of structures that we need if we really want to encourage youth to do it. Not more love and cuddle and all that. Entrepreneurship is a meat grinder, right? But at least we must try to make it, a higher chance, right? And in my point of view, at the current structure, it's not good enough, right? And like what Eugene say, most of the funding, the youth entrepreneurs don't get. Then they get coaching corrupt crumbs. Try a few, you can't do anything with those kind of numbers. Yeah. So free rent, cheap, low risk. Try. Make it cool. Right. That to me, that is the machine.
My question is, how many youths will actually do brick and mortar businesses?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because like what Pei Ying said, AI is on the rise, and from her data, there are signals to say that the AI usage is there, right? And so that's why I am while you are opining, Wow, what a word to use.
Opine. Thank you.
In my mind, I'm trying
She laughed
to.
at me. It's like, who am I to opine?
No. I laugh at the very excellent use of the word opine.
Opine.
I mean, when a podcast business, you don't opine, then you do a podcast, right?
Of course, yes.
No, because I'm in my head, I'm trying to unpack this whole thing, right? You have this, it seems like your personal view is that this my first $1,000 initiative is not going to work. You are in favor of this whole not brick and mortar, this physical infrastructure, architectures, ecosystem kind of thing. Also, because the ESR, they did say ecosystem. They keep on mentioning the word ecosystem, but they midway through, they haven't going to paint didn't give color.
Yes, it's not there.
So the ecosystem in your head is all these physical structures, cheap rent or even don't need to rent, just go in and try. But my point is that why do use might not need an office space for entrepreneurship anyway, right? I can start an AI startup anytime I want.
Of course. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There is always a normal curve. Right, so if you let things be, there is a normal curve. There will be an X amount of people that will pick it up. Right, it's always the case. Now, what we're talking about is whether do we want to do structural shifts to promote a particular outcome, right? So all the people that will naturally be the entrepreneur, right? They don't even need to listen to this. They're already doing it. They'll figure it out, right? But now is this a national effort? Are we going to, in response to the world churning and, doing all that where jobs are slow and we want to be able to then put our youth through this other path that hopefully raise a whole other generation, then rise together, then you need more things inside, right? You need the system, you need the promotion, you need the assignment, you need all this. It's not too different from selling any other things, right? So that at least that's kind of how I look at it.
Am I allowed to share a viewpoint as well? I feel that if you have, I think in today's, especially after COVID, we do know that we need that hybrid element, right? You definitely need the brick and mortar, but you also need an online presence. But I'm just wondering at the same time, right, is without that human touch and element, why would somebody even look at your startup or business if they don't even know about it, unless you have a strong backing of marketing dollars behind your brand? And I feel today, especially in Singapore, that face value is very important and that trust element. Just sharing my 2 cents.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes these type of collective spaces is what makes it easy.
Yeah, it's accessible, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the Masik Shop House, right? It's like cool and trendy and all the stuff are there, right? So easy to just gather there because it's the heart of the center. And then there are all these events that are popping out. I was like, okay, this is a right path, in the right direction. So this is placemaking and incubator development, right? Yeah. So that's I do agree. But if not, then you're constantly dancing on TikTok trying to get attention, right? I mean, that's a game, right? You can drive attention through that path. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about our youth actually wanting to be entrepreneurs. I think what they want is they don't want to lose out. That is the mantra we've heard all our lives, right? Chinese New Year is gonna come up. Hey, boy, which uni, which
What does your parent ask you now?
my parents.
Yeah, what will your relatives ask you now?
my grandma, my papa.
生意好吗?
Not quite she like pass me money, when we meet wow, really very pricey, right? But she's very concerned, right? More concerned that hey, are you doing well? You got enough to eat or not?
Because she know entrepreneur got nothing to eat.
It's correct, right? No, because she was exposed to that kind of life, right? When she was younger, I think her spouse also ran businesses, right? So she understood the suffering that goes into it. My uncles and aunties, they are very supportive because they also run their own businesses, right? My dad at the beginning was like, what kind of business are you trying to run? This one, outside so many, don't do. But after a while, he see how we hustle and how the idea evolved, right? And that we actually now got traction, right? And it's very healthy, then okay, now I help you.
Yeah, Papa will invest next round.
Maybe not. And then my mom is more on the worried side, right? I think even my girlfriend's parents are involved, right? Give advice and they are quite supportive, in terms of words of encouragement. I think which brings to surface the support of community and the people around you is super important, right? And turns out it's those people who understand right, and can empathize, they are the ones who are supportive.
It's true. That's why placemaking is important. That's why people coming together is important. That's why an 8-week program doesn't work. You do a CCA, you make it into a CCA, run national competition, do whatever, right? Like I think that will be more exciting.
To that point, I think Rosyth and Greenwood Primary School, they have entrepreneurship programs. In particular, Greenwood Primary, they are looking to partner with startups, businesses to sort of work for them, maybe for marketing or any development stuff.
Primary school,
Primary school.
That's child labor law.
Hey, not child labor, but it's a program.
That is work exposure and experience.
Yeah,
Building
exactly.
skills from young.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
Yeah. So I think exposing is good lah, right? Next part that I think a lot of people can't figure out is how to make people hungry lor.
Yeah, I do agree as well. I think without that structure or without that opportunity, how do you even know entrepreneurship is for you? Because I think even if it's just 8 weeks a program, it gives you a sense of how to manage money, maybe how to make networks, how to even build a prototype, whatever it may be that you do in those 8 weeks. I don't know the details. But I think without that even flavor, you're just studying a textbook and you may not even know what's after that.
There's one thing we didn't touch about, right? Because I'm picking keywords here again. It seems like we are trying to describe different facets of the ecosystem here. Just now, Eugene, you mentioned you use this word suffering, which is a software thing. It's software versus hardware. The ecosystem in itself is built. It is a hardware kind of thing. I don't care whether you call it community, the marketplace, whatever, they are hardware. The software bit of things, right? The mentality, the Singaporean mentality of whether the Singaporean mentality encourages entrepreneurship, that I think really that's where the other half of the equation is. And I don't know whether you all agree or not. Thus far, there is no overt effort to change the software bit of it, right? And when we talk about software, one of the ways to measure is when you think about entrepreneurship, what therefore are your personal barriers or what you call suffering, right? I would imagine that for a guy, I might want to go into entrepreneurship. I have NS, then I have uni, or if I have to go for uni, I might have a girlfriend, I want to marry, then I have BTO to pay. And all these things will start to come in. And all these are what you call the Singaporean dream, the part and parcel of the process, right? So from a live perspective, Eugene, right, from a calculating, like when you calculate all these opportunity costs, how do you rationalize to yourself?
When talking about suffering, I was in Japan and then we were talking about suffering as well. And this Japanese entrepreneur, he said something to the line of the biggest suffering you can encounter is death, right? Anything in between, just eat it, right? I think in that, if there is an ideal that you really want to work towards and you want to prove it out, right? And you risk it all, burn the boats, right? That is suffering that you are going to go through. I'm not sure if the people of Singapore, our youth, are able to go through this suffering. Likely not. Many don't even begin to understand what that suffering could be. Now come back to BTO. Co-founder is applied already. 2029.
No pressure.
Yeah,
no
a lot of pressure.
When my first guy bought a car, I was so damn stressed.
Right.
It's like, where have you buy a car?
Exactly.
Yeah, now I can't make the business work. yeah, but anyway, yes.
Exactly. So, and he also graduated end of last year. The good thing is that the girlfriend very supportive. Girlfriend is fully employed. So it is this kind of hardware, software, right? This negotiation with loved ones, convincing them to understand your perspective and what you want to do, and thereby supporting you as well. And I think it's very top of mind for co-founders founders that are just coming out of uni, because that's when you think about a BTO and stuff. For founders, when you start your own business, you don't draw CPF. And what BTO grant you want to talk about, right? You don't even have a salary.
True. That's why most of them quit after the second, third run.
Exactly. So it's super tough, right? And then what? You stay with your parents. I mean, no shame in that. I do that, right? It's just there is no support. When you talk about risk and risk aversion, the risk is super high and people are risk averse. It's double whammy. The system, the environment, community really does not support. It's not so much not support, but it's not favorable. It's not an ecosystem that enables entrepreneurship to thrive.
So if today we are going to design our own this ecosystem according to what you think we need, what are the various ingredients you will put in?
So you can design however you want, but the fact is, and fact remains, where's the money going to come from? We do have a lot of money, and I think government, based on the budget, they've decided that the best way to grow Singapore is to bring in companies. Right, to bring in companies for us to learn from. Always the same line, right?
I'm glad you recognize it. It's the same tune for 60 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, bring in companies, bring in innovation partners, bring in professionals, then Singapore can learn. But we have the 8th best university in the world, first in Asia, and we still need to learn. Learning is good, right? But that requirement for survival, learning because we really must, I think is absurd. Why can't we help ourselves? Is it really something that we need to learn? Right? Or is it something we need to do? And where is this capital that is going to enable us to do? It's very safe stuff. Yeah, learn. Everything also learn. Right? But where's the doing?
Which is why my first $1,000 is here, lor. To let you have a taste of your, success or failure in 8 weeks, and let you decide.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think when Eugene was talking, I was just thinking also, what and you asked, right, what's needed for the ecosystem to grow. And I think it really boils down to the mindset needs to change. And what right now, when Tim was talking, I think the mindset is very jobs, titles, right? Very a more traditional way of thinking. But in the future, the world is changing so fast. Like all these new technologies are changing so fast. LinkedIn data shows that 20% of the jobs being hired today, they didn't exist 20 years ago. So that's how fast it's changed. 70% of skills needed for a job are going to change by 2030. So that is the pace of change we are seeing. And what that then means is that you cannot anchor on a job title anymore. You need to anchor on something else that you can bring with you wherever you are. I think that's the mindset. That's not just skills, but it's also the growth mindset. It's the mindset of I'm going to be agile. I'm going to try. I will learn. Maybe I will fail. It's okay. I fail. I relearn. If I learn the wrong thing, never mind. I unlearn and then I relearn again. I think that is the mindset that we need to somehow build into the ecosystem for the ecosystem to thrive. And when I say ecosystem also, this kind of mindset, it is not just going to help the entrepreneurship ecosystem. It will help the entire market. Because when you inculcate that kind of mindset in people, no matter what you do, you will be successful. You can be a salary employee, you can run your own business, you can, have multiple side hustles. You have this mindset of growth, you have this mindset of flexibility, you will be successful.
But the data shows your salary peak at 45. Is it true?
Well, I don't
Based
think
on
so.
LinkedIn data set.
No, LinkedIn, well, at least for myself, I've never studied salary data. I think you're probably referencing like government, medians and all that. Yeah.
I don't have LinkedIn data lah. Would love to have lah. yeah, that's why we talk next time. Publish a report together. Okay. Yes.
I could just add on to what you're saying as well, right? I do think our generation is redefining success. And I do believe there's a lot more than just the title. I think it's the fact that maybe the infrastructure is not ready for us to proceed with this mindset of redefining success. So for example, you're saying, okay, the BTO case, right? What are the alternatives then? Does not exist today. Not to say it may not exist, not to say government may not be thinking about it, but it's just not there today. So how can I take a risk? It doesn't give me a chance to take a risk.
Is there any evidence? We've been talking about learning skills future since 2019. Maybe even before that, right? Growth mindset, yes. Focusing on learning as a way to reskill, upskill. So do we have data to show that this has actually worked well for people going through these programs? Or am I just learning how to bake?
Now I'm getting questioned, getting questioned by co-panelists also.
But please, any thoughts? If you have any things to share?
Yeah, I think soft skills, they are by nature soft. They are difficult to measure. And when it's difficult to measure a skill, then it's difficult to measure the outcome. But what the data on our side, we've also done some analysis not to look at what kind of skills will become less likely to be replaced by technology, less likely to be replaced by AI. And when we look at the list of skills that come up, we see a lot of these complementary skills. They are human in nature. It's like creativity, problem solving, judgment, empathy. So all those things that the machine cannot do. So I believe, if you're talking about what is going to future-proof me, whether or not I become an entrepreneur or something else. I think it's building these kind of skills that will pair well with AI in the future.
Okay, so my question was, maybe I rephrase a little. With the new skills that people going through these upskilling programs gained, right? Is there evidence that they have found better jobs?
I don't have access to people who've gone through Skills Future. That's Skills Future's data, not mine. But what I do have access to is that we see that people who have soft skills on the profile and those who pair these soft skills with technical skills, they get hired faster and promoted faster.
Oh, nice. That's good to know. Very good to know. Okay, cool.
I just have one wish list lah.
Okay, yes.
Right, because the ESR midway point, right?
Yes.
And then I'm looking in the camera, and maybe some ministers you're watching this, right? Hi.
Hello.
Can you mandate? Can you make an official recommendation? Doesn't need to be put in law, but make an official recommendation that side hustles are encouraged nationwide.
I think that is a very fair ask. Really,
right or not?
really.
Because
I think
just
that's a
now,
very fair
Eugene,
ask.
your question spun off something for me in the sense that, yeah, I go for Skills Future, upgrade myself. Then does it mean that I have to quit my current job to go to a new job just to apply all these new skills? Why can't I keep my current job and apply outside in a side hustle? Why can't I? Because side hustles can also be entrepreneurship. Why can't it be? Because right now we are talking about ecosystem and everything, right? The software, the hardware. Isn't the most direct way to encourage a software upgrade mentality, risk-taking mentality, is to encourage your employees, is to be okay for your employees to have side hustles outside of your main job. Once you're okay with that, then you see a sudden surge, I think.
Yeah.
Because on the ground, that's what's happening. It's just that it's not official.
Yeah, of course, because I think the idea here is because cost is so high, right? So it's so risky to do it. So you see a lot. Cannot say a lot, but you see anecdotal cases where people side hustle until it becomes their main hustle, right? And that's kind of like their risk managed way of entrepreneurship, And I don't think it's a common thing in developing places, but I think in a lot of the big first tier cities where rents are high, cost inputs are high, this becomes a viable strategy to test out, because you cannot just like quit, right, and do something. So you kind of play around with this. This could be a way forward, lah. But ultimately, I think it's worthwhile to remember we are a mercantile state. For a long time we trade for a living, and we've done a lot of stuff. We are very entrepreneurial. It's just that the economic policies of the day have really pushed us into a more like import export driven kind of like import value add export driven type of market, where we bring in all these things as part of the supply chain, we value add, we push it back out, which I think was great for a period of time, but as we can tell, we are not competitive, in this structure anymore. All our neighbors can do a very good job. We are the last mile. Okay, we manage because we got good relationship with everyone, so our tariffs are very low. From here, go up very easy, right? And we give preferential rates to electricity, water, stability. So that is like last mile, right? To really push out in the global chain. But to be stronger, to be more resilient in the global turmoil, I think it is still paramount for us to essentially build a next generation of brands, next generation of entrepreneurs where we can call our own, where it's home base here, where you feel like emotionally, blackmail to sponsor a school, sponsor a scholarship. When was the last time you saw that? Right? And I think that whole generation of entrepreneurs, we need a new one. And like it or not, actually, in bad times like this, I think it's a good time. It's precisely because the risk reward now is rebalanced, because the easy way to get a job is no longer existent. Let's take the bunch of people, that are young, excited, want to try new things, divert and grind through this process, raise a whole generation. I think that it's a good opportunity. Don't waste it, right? So whether it's AI tools, whether is it promoting entrepreneurship, although I shit on programs and mentorship, some of them may work, by all means, but I think ultimately it's all hands approach, right? All hands on deck to try to make this work, and I think it's a good opportunity for us, lah.
So I hope to see an updated statement or updated recommendation by National Day Rally. Okay? Okay.
Yeah, we'll see you. Okay, great. Thank you all. Any last things? If our audience would like to connect with you, where's the best place?
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just search us up, ecovolt.ai.
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, of course lah,
LinkedIn.
right? Yes. So that's all for today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you at the next TFC budget debate. I think we have quite a few topics. This is not the last one. The next one is the big one. The next one is retirement, like all the CPF updates, all the stuff. So we'll see you at the next one. Meanwhile, take care. Bye-bye.